Okay, let me know if you can hear me in the comments section down below. /chat room. Okay, we're back. Doing this on Sunday again. Please bear with me. I had to work yesterday, and I was really just completely wiped out afterward. So I slept late today, and I'm still getting back up to speed here. But we got Impact to talk about. Also, I suspect some people are going to ask me about Suicide Squad, which I saw on Friday. So this is your spoiler warning for that, because I imagine there will be spoilers in this discussion as well. So let's get started. Hang on, just let me close out of this. And you guys can hear me, all right. And okay. Okay, so this week we had the finals for the Bound for Glory series. No dragging it out for weeks, no including people who have no chance and we all know it, no randomly changing the rules of the tournament to do damage control for bad booking, none of that shit. So clearly the writers had a much easier time booking this than the Bound for Glory series, for example. We start out with a promo exchange from EC3 and Mike Bennett. And we get another great promo from these guys, and they play it up like it isn't just the finals of the tournament, it's also the conclusion of their feud as well, which gives some extra weight to this. And I don't think I need to be telling you how great the promos are when these two guys are together. That goes without saying. Then Moose shows up and the heels beat down EC3 and the match is set. Good opener here, though it did bother me that neither guy got an entrance. You know, it just started with both of them in the ring. That seemed kind of sloppy to me. We've been seeing a lot of that lately, too. That happens on the taped shows. They just go a little overboard with the post-producing everything. Sometimes it leads to over-editing. One of these guys is going to headline Bound for Glory and challenge for the world title, and you can't show their entrances? Really? Come on, TNA. What's wrong? Did you have to cut corners because the X Division was taking up too much screen time? Oh, wait, the X Division wasn't on the show. Never mind. After this, they do the James Storm Eli Drake match for the King of the Mountain title. And I was kind of dumbfounded with how casually this came across. Alright, here's a match that actually has a lot riding on it. If James Storm loses, he can't drink beer anymore, can't use his music. Basically, his entire identity is at stake here in this match. And it's as if that has no bearing on what happens here at all. The announcers barely mention it. Storm isn't acting any differently. He's riding the Boozer Cruiser, having a good time, singing along with the fans like he doesn't have a care in the world. Shouldn't he be a little more concerned about what's on the line here? If he was concerned at all, he didn't show it. The match just played out like a regular match, which begs the question, why would you even add that stipulation in the first place if you were going to do absolutely nothing with it? There were no promos beforehand when Storm talked about the consequences if he loses. No moment where he takes a beer and he takes a drink and realizes that, oh holy shit, that this might be the last beer. If I lose that match, I can't be me anymore. This is really fucking serious. No, nothing like that. Nothing. It was like there were a whole bunch of bases that they had to cover for the storytelling to work here, and they completely passed on every single one. Technically, yes, it was a good match, but the psychology just wasn't there. And then they have Eli Drake lose, and I'm not happy about it. I liked seeing James Storm win, but like I said before, this was a lose-lose situation. No matter who won, somebody was going to get damaged when they really shouldn't be. Now Eli Drake loses the King of the Mountain title when he didn't even hold it that long. when he was just starting to make me care about his championship run despite spending most of it losing non-title matches, reducing his title reign to simply the latest in a long line of King of the Mountain title reigns that just feel worthless and don't do anything for the belt at all. And to top it all off, Lashley immediately comes out and they set up a title versus title match with him and James Storm, meaning that they're probably about to hot potato the fucking title again. The whole thing was a goddamn plot device. And you wonder why I say that belt is cursed? There you go, there's your fucking proof. If they were going to do this, if they were going to have Lashley go after the King of the Mountain title so he can collect all the belts, why even have Eli Drake lose it in the first place? Either way, Lashley's probably going to end up with that belt, so all this does is add yet another hot potato title change to a title that already had quite a few lately. I mean, now, if they wanted to do something really surprising and have James Storm beat Lashley for the world title and then hold both championships at the same time, I'd be cool with that. Hashtag Storm for champ. But I think we all know that is rather unlikely. Moving on to the knockouts. On to Gail Kim on her journey to win the Knockouts title again. As if there's anything new or interesting about that. And she gets put in a match against Allie. But then Maria decided to pull a fast one and makes it a handicap match with Gail facing both Allie and the Knockouts champion Sienna. And Maria thought she was really screwing Gail over here, but I guess Maria forgot what show this is because Jane Cena doesn't even blink at that. She just breaks out her trusty shovel, and you can guess the rest. You know, one positive I'll say about this, I thought Allie was the star of this match. And not even because of any wrestling she did. The character work this girl is doing right now is absolutely priceless. She was hilarious with her antics here. Like waiting until Gail was down, and then begging Sienna to tag her in, and then running over, kicking Gail one time, and then running right back to the corner and tagging herself out, and then patting herself on the back like she did something amazing. That shit was hilarious. I was cracking up. And then, of course, the most entertaining girl in the whole goddamn match is the one who gets pinned. Thanks for fucking nothing, Gail. You know, I hear people trying to excuse this somehow, saying that Sienna didn't get pinned, so she was protected. No, she wasn't. Because she had to look like a total jackass who botched her finisher all to hell and ran off in the opposite direction that Gail was heading in to set up the finish, to set up Allie getting pinned. And it looked like it looked like she hit Allie on purpose. That's how bad it was. That finish looked terrible. It wasn't supposed to. It looked like the timing was off or someone was out of position or something, but still, that's what happened. And at the end of the day, it's still the Knockouts champion with a partner losing a handicap match to one person. I don't see how that protects the champion or makes her look good in any way, especially when Gail kicked out of her finisher earlier in the match to add insult to injury. So those 2 wins that Sienna got over Gail recently, those were obviously flukes. They just got invalidated, just like every damn time someone beats Gail, the win gets invalidated, because God forbid Gail Kim ever look less than completely indestructible. The rest of the knockout roster be damned. You know, I would really love to find something positive in this Gail Kim storyline, but I can't. I fail to see what can be gained from this, and all I am seeing right now is a division that's trying to rebuild itself, but keeps getting derailed by the woman who's supposed to be helping it the most. Here we are watching Gail Kim on this road to regain the Knockouts Championship again, and having to defeat every other knockout on the roster in order to do so. What's the result of this going to be? Gail gets another title reign she doesn't need, and all the other knockouts look like shit. I hear the argument that this is just glorifying Gail because she's going into the Hall of Fame, to which I ask the question, when has this division not glorified Gail Kim in the last decade? Gail doesn't need to be glorified anymore. You know who does need to be glorified? Everybody else in the division. Does Gail deserve to go into the Hall of Fame? Sure. Should she look good while she's doing it? I suppose so. But when the rest of the Knockout roster is made to look so bad because of it, there's something very wrong here. I can't get invested in this. I can't. One, because I don't want Gail to get another title reign. It's horribly counterproductive at this point, in my opinion. And two, it's not even an interesting story. The whole point of putting the entire Knockout roster in Gail's path is to stack the odds against her, to make her the underdog, to make this look like a Herculean task, so fans will rally behind her, so when she presumably wins the title back, she can look like she did the impossible and really accomplished something great. But I don't feel that way. I don't think anyone else does either. Because Gail isn't the underdog. All the other Knockouts, they're the underdog. There is absolutely no tension or suspense here because Gail's title hunt is mired by this overpowering feeling of inevitability. The whole point is to challenge Gail, but TNA have spent so many years elevating her so far above all the other Knockouts that there is no challenge. She just beat the Knockouts champion and a partner in a handicap match. There's no challenge for Gail here. Gail is the challenge that all the other Knockouts have to overcome and consistently fail to do so. So why should I root for her when I feel like no one else in this division is ever going to get a real chance to shine as long as she's there? Man. Oh, and I looked at the YouTube video of that match on TNA's page, like just yesterday. Once again, tons of negative comments, tons of people resenting Gail Kim, almost in complete agreement, just like with the other one. I saw the comments in that video from last week. You guys weren't kidding about that. Everyone is saying the same thing. I'm so sick of Gail Kim. I want to see the other girls get pushed for a change. I skipped the knockout matches with Gail in them because there's no suspense and blah, blah, blah. That new video, same thing. The same anti-Gail sentiment bubbling up stronger and stronger. TNA have got a problem on their hands. Fans are turning against Gail, and if this gets much worse, they won't be able to ignore it anymore, like they're doing right now. Hopefully something changes with that. So then we have broken Matt Hardy continuing to fuck with Jeff, or broken Nero, or Brother Nero, whatever they're calling him now. He makes him fight two dudes by himself, where Jeff is forbidden from doing top rope moves, even though he did one at the end here anyway. But we saw JT Dunn and Chuck Taylor here, and they actually got a lot more offense than you'd expect them to. Are they getting signed? Beats me, but I guess they're on the radar at least. I thought they looked all right. JT Dunn had some impressive agility in there, so we'll see. But Matt hits his finisher on Jeff at the end and makes the pin himself, so this never-ending storyline continues. It definitely concerns me that Matt was talking a lot about the tag titles, because we know Matt's on the creative team, and I would bet money that he's booking this angle himself. So I'm a little afraid here that he might book himself in the obsolete mule to derail the Decay and win the tag titles somehow, which would be completely unnecessary and a terrible decision. I don't want to see that happen, but I'm very concerned that it might. Because the Decay have been so fucking interesting. After that, oh boy. Oh, lucky us. They had another match with Grado and Shera versus the Tribunal and Al Snow. For some reason. I don't know why this feud is still a thing. It doesn't seem to be going anywhere. It's just treading water. There was absolutely nothing interesting about the match at all. It just felt like a big waste of time, and I've already spent more time talking about it than it deserves, so let's just move on. And thankfully, we're moving on to, once again, the most memorable thing on the show. The conclusion of the Rosemary origin, God only knows thing from last week. As it turns out, there wasn't a whole lot left to the story. The Johnny guy put his hand on her knee, and then Rosemary just went nuts. And that was it. Of course, then Bram thinks it wasn't that big a deal, and that's when things get kind of dark. Rosemary goes nuts on Bram, and then Steve and Abyss show up, yay, and then Bram winds up in the trunk of their car, being taken God knows where. Okay, okay. The cons of this segment. If this was all a setup, does that mean that the whole story Rosemary told Bram with the long-lost brother and the talking tree and the dead cat was all made up? Or was that supposed to be a real thing? I have no idea, but if that was all made up, then it was a really big dog and pony show just to get from point A to point B. Also, if it was meant to be real, then they really didn't have much of a payoff for the Rosemary story. I thought it was going to be a lot more... I thought there was going to be a lot more to it, but instead the story just kind of ended very quickly. Maybe that was the point, so Bram would think the whole thing was kind of silly to cause Rosemary to go nuts, but still, kind of a letdown after that crazy setup. Now, the pros of this segment. Rosemary's performance. Awesome. This girl has charisma coming out her ears. The production. Awesome. Cinematography, the editing, looked like a horror movie. Especially the end. Rosemary is back with the Decay. Or maybe she never left. Maybe that was always the plan. I'm not sure. To lure Bram into some kind of trap. Which is what I was hoping would be the case when this started. The whole time, because... sorry, I lost my train of thought there, but... Yeah, breaking Rosemary away from the Decay would have been the worst thing that could have happened. So if it was a trap, and that was always the plan the whole time, good. That's what I wanted out of this. So good. Also... If it was all secretly a plan that the Decay hooked up to fuck with Bram, that means that it retroactively invalidates that time the bromance got over on them by revealing the Bram-Rosemary makeout backstage. Turns out the Decay may have let that happen because it was all by design. Suck it, bromance. So that was great. Alright. Main event. EC3 and Mike Bennett fighting for the main event of Bound for Glory, among other things. You know, this really has been TNA's feud of the year, and it's not hard to see why. EC3 and Bennett just match up so well, on the mic, in the ring. Every promo battle is great. Their matches have been damn good, too, and this was no exception. They cut her off the top rope. Holy shit, man. And I like the storytelling aspects of this, too. You know, Maria goes for the interference, but this time she's thrown out. They go for the same finish to the first match that Bennett ended the streak with, but this time EC3's ready for it and kicks out. Moose gets involved, but Eddie Edwards takes him out as payback for that powerbomb on the ring apron when Moose debuted. It was cool that they worked Eddie in there. There were some really good elements to this. I also appreciated that Drew Galloway never got involved. You know, they were definitely teasing something with him, and I am expecting him to do something to EC3 later, possibly at Bound for Glory, we don't know yet. But he didn't show up here, and that restraint helped because they were pretty close to overbooking this thing. Definitely the right call to have EC3 win, in my opinion. EC3 Lashley is the match they've been teasing for a couple of months now, and while they have been teasing Bennett Lashley as well, heel versus heel wouldn't really work for Bound for Glory, unless they wanted to make it a triple threat again. And Bennett doesn't get hurt by this loss at all. That's no problem. He can eat that, no problem. So there we go. EC3 Lashley for Bound for Glory. I like it. Feels like the biggest match they could make, with the exception of maybe Lashley, Jeff Hardy, but Matt's got Jeff all tied up. Won't be the first time we've seen this one, but we haven't seen it in a while, so I think it works. EC3 Lashley, that works for Bound for Glory. Kind of a hot and cold show here. The parts that were good were really good, and they actually kept Matt Hardy restricted to one segment this week. Thank you. But there were definitely some issues. I'm not happy about the King of the Mountain title situation. That's really frustrating me right now, as is Gail Kim doing her best to ensure that none of the other knockouts will ever have an ounce of credibility for as long as they live. But the main event was great stuff, and the Decay Swerve was really fun. So there was some good So there were some good things here too. Sorry, I'm still waking up. I slept late, and don't really have all my wits about me clearly right now. All right. Okay, so sound off in the comments section. Did I just... Come on. Alright. Thought I lost the stream there. Okay. Also, if you want to ask me about Suicide Squad, feel free. Thoughts on what McGregor said. Yeah, McGregor kind of was shooting on the WWE roster. I haven't seen it myself. I didn't mean no disrespect to the WWE fans. What I meant to say was I'd slap the head off your entire roster and twice on Sundays. Well, McGregor is a shoot fighter, and WWE stars are, well, scripted fighters, I guess. So he's probably not far off. Of course, there are people on the roster that are probably like 3 times as big as he is. I don't think he needed to say that. I can see how it would get under some people's skin. Probably just McGregor fucking around. You know, the guy likes to talk trash. I don't really think anything of it. Although, as I understand it, I think, what was it, Roman Reigns and Rusev got a little butthurt about what he said. Suck it up, you guys. It's all in good fun. Please review Suicide Squad. And was it better than Batman v Superman? Okay, I guess we can talk about this now. Here's your spoiler warning if I say anything unintentional here. So, if you don't want to be spoiled for Suicide Squad, hit the mute button right now. So here we go, my thoughts on Suicide Squad. I liked it. I say that acknowledging that it was not a perfect movie by any stretch. I liked it despite the obvious flaws in it. What we had with Suicide Squad was 2 very different versions of the same movie compacted into one. So you had pieces of 2 different movies scattered everywhere with no consistent vision. And I think what happens was they had originally had a much different movie at first. And then the reviews for Batman v Superman came in, and everyone's saying, oh, it's too dark, and it's such joyless, and there's no levity anywhere. And I think the studio hit the panic button at that point, and that's when you started seeing the different promotional material that was much more upbeat and was showcasing like jokes and stuff a lot more. And I think at that point the studio ordered a different cut of the film. And I've heard reports that David Ayer was... there was conflict between him and the studio about the final cut of the movie. So I think the studio decided they wanted something more upbeat and kind of went over his head, and they clashed a little bit. And you can definitely see that in the final product. Because it's totally inconsistent at times. You can see elements of the darker version, and then there's all these other lighter moments of comedy and action and stuff. For the most part, I do think it works. The biggest problem with it, in my opinion, though, there are clearly tons of missing scenes. Tons of deleted scenes. And they tried to cover that up with weird editing. But I think in the process of the re-edit, things got a little mixed up because there are some scenes that are supposed to be like over here, but instead they're over here. And again, weird editing, trying to make it all work. It's really noticeable. It is. Um, that does cause a few problems for me, though. I still did kind of like it. Um, I don't know if I'd say it was better than Batman v Superman. I probably enjoyed it more. You know, at least this movie had some levity to it. It had jokes. Some of the jokes were even funny, and that was a refreshing change after they went so dark with with Man of Steel and BVS. Um, I thought Harley Quinn was great. I thought Margot Robbie did a good job. Um, yeah, that was what I was most concerned about. Is like, oh, please don't fuck up Harley Quinn, but they didn't. I thought they did Harley very well. What else? What else? Joel Kinnaman, I think that's his name, as Rick Flag was really good. I'm not familiar with the character from the comics, so I don't know what kind of adaptation it was, but I thought he did a good job. Will Smith, I don't buy Will Smith as Deadshot. I look at him and I see Will Smith. But that's not a bad thing, because Will Smith is back in his wheelhouse here, finally. You know, he experimented with some drama. He did his Oscar bait movie. Then there was the whole After Earth fiasco that's better left forgotten. But now he's back. Now he's back to being Will Smith. This is the Will Smith that we love, and I don't look at him and see Deadshot, but it's still a fun performance. You know, even if he can't really disappear into the role because he's so recognizable. Jared Leto, you know. Jared Leto did a good job with the material. I don't care for this portrayal of a Joker. I don't like the gangsta thug Joker. I just don't. Yeah, I guess they took a risk with it, and I guess apparently it's paying off because the movie's doing huge business. But I wasn't sure what to make of the Joker. Again, good actor, good performance. I just don't care for the portrayal of the character. That's down to like script and directing choices and stuff. I do think there's something to work with, though. Let's see. Yeah, missing scenes. I think the villain was a little weak. There were some story elements that clearly got cut, so there were things about the villain / villains that didn't make a whole lot of sense. There's one aspect of the villain, I'm trying not to spoil anything here, but one aspect that just comes completely out of nowhere. It's like, oh, it had something else that it's doing now. Again, no spoilers, but like that just comes out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, now we got this too. Okay. So yeah, a lot of the missing scenes definitely hurt the villain. Also, the story is very straightforward. The whole thing is, villain is causing some shit, so the Suicide Squad lands in a city. They go a couple blocks, and they go up a building or something, and then they fight, and that's it. Felt like there could have been more to it than that, or more set pieces and stuff, because there aren't actually as many as you might think. But it's still a fun movie, and I enjoyed it more than Batman v Superman. In a lot of ways, a lot more than Man of Steel, which I actually liked. So yeah, I think it was a step in the right direction for DC and Warner Brothers. Maybe they finally realized that comic book movies are supposed to be fun, and they don't have to be like a dark, joyless murder storm all the time. Even though a lot of people get killed in this movie, but it has a sense of fun about itself, and that was very refreshing. So I liked it. There were a lot of problems, but I think it succeeds despite those problems. I hate that they put the King of the Mountain title match on the show like it was no big deal. They could have made more out of it considering the stipulation for Storm here. Mentioning it during the match is not enough. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, there were things they needed to do in order to have the storytelling be effective, and they just didn't do it. They didn't bother. They effectively rendered the stipulation meaningless because they didn't do anything to sell it at all. And that was dumb. Why boo water? LOL. Yeah. What's wrong with water? I would give Suicide Squad a 65% out of 100. Movie has a lot of problems, but Margot Robbie was so fantastic as Harley. I can't wait. I can't hate it. Plus, I'm interested to see what they do with Joker now. Dude, that was another problem. They just kind of threw the Joker out there without introducing him or anything. There was no like introductory scene like, boom, here's the new Joker. They just threw him in a scene with Harley, like it was like we'd already knew who he was. And they really glossed over Harley's origin too. They show them in a quick scene together, and the narration is like, oh, Dr. Quinzel was supposed to be treating Joker, instead she fell in love with him, and that was it. I was like, oh man, really? That's it? You couldn't go into more detail than that? People have been waiting to see Harley in a movie for a long time, and they really glossed over her origin here. Now again, tons of deleted scenes, obviously. I would really be interested to see a director's cut, because I suspect like the extended version would probably solve a lot of the problems with the movie. So I definitely want to see that. And that really bothered me. The way they glossed over Harley's origin so much. Will Smith as Deadshot was good too. Been a long time since we've seen that Will Smith in a movie. This is the Independence Day Men in Black Bad Boys Will that we've been missing. Yeah, this was Will Smith back to being the Will Smith that we love. And maybe it wasn't technically Deadshot, but Will Smith being Will Smith will bring people to the theater. And that was good. It's not like he gave a bad portrayal. It's just I can't look at it. I don't look at him and see Deadshot. I just don't, because it's Will Smith, you know. It's kind of like that Tom Cruise syndrome, where you know Tom Cruise is never going to win an Oscar for disappearing into a role because people just look at him and see Tom Cruise because he's one of the most recognizable people in the world. Will Smith's kind of like that now, but he's still a super entertaining dude. Glad you liked that picture made of Gail Kim with a shovel. Yeah. Why can't Gail Kim fans understand what will happen to the division if they keep encouraging her to win all the time? I don't know. A lot of people are short-sighted. They just see their favorite winning, and that's all that matters. I think Gail's kind of short-sighted in that way too. Gail doesn't seem to understand what her constantly beating everybody means. And it's like, you know, think about what this is going to do for the division 5 years from now. It's like, once you leave, you've done nothing to help any of the other girls get over, so now you've got a division that has to be carried by women who weren't properly pushed, who aren't ready, who aren't over, because Gail buried all of them. And it's like, I want Gail to think about, to really consider that what's best for the division is not necessarily what's best for her, and vice versa. Okay, she's making out like gangbusters, but you know, the division is suffering for it. It's like not a lot of people seem to understand that. You know, certainly the people in TNA or the people booking this division right now, they don't understand that. And apparently some fans don't get it either. Do you think Lashley should go after the tag titles? No. No, I don't. Sienna and Allie jobbing to Gale pissed off so many fans. I'm not surprised. I hope they don't have Gale go over Rosemary. Oh, God, please don't let that happen. I have some hope that they won't do that. Because when they set up the angle where they're saying, okay, Gale, you can have a title shot, but you got to beat all the other knockouts to do it, Rosemary was not in that segment. So I'm hopeful that her just doing her thing with the Decay right now is going to have her be like removed from all that, and she won't be putting Gale's path of destruction. So at the very least, maybe Rosemary will be won't be damaged by Gale's shovel. You know, fingers crossed. They're going to do a Kurt Angle 2007 with Lashley. Remember when he had every single title except for the knockouts? Yeah, that was a different time, though. Honestly, the tag team division was not in the state that it is back then. I mean, they can't really afford to do any more damage to the tag team division right now. Currently, they have one viable tag team to work with. If they have Lashley win the tag titles from the Decay, then it's like, well, it'd be like taking a horse that has a broken leg and then breaking another leg, you know? You've got one good thing going in the tag team division. You need to keep that going. You need to keep a Decay looking strong. Because if you don't, then you got nothing to work with at all. So, Lashley wants to get all the singles titles? Okay, fine. Go for it. Let the Decay keep the tag titles at least. There's no need to bring those into this. Sienna's calling out Lashley on Twitter. Well, wouldn't be the first time a man has held a woman's title in this company, just saying. I really liked the post-match Storm-Lashley exchange. I laughed at Storm's line about him beating Lashley in 30 seconds since he's just an NCAA champion. Yeah. Storm's always got great lines. I love that they brought up him beating Kurt Angle in under a minute to win the title last time. Damn it. Hashtag Storm for champ. Thank God the Decay thing was a setup like I hoped. Rosemary and Bram was just stupid. I wouldn't say it was stupid, because there were a couple of different ways that could go, but I am very happy that it was a setup, though. Rosemary's performance was better than the actress who played Harley Quinn. Oh, come on, Margot Robbie did a good job. They're both very good. How about that? It would have meant more if Eli Drake had lost it to Lashley and then Storm wins it from Lashley and then Eli Drake comes back for it. Yeah, probably. Sadly, it doesn't seem like they care very much about making the King of the Mountain title mean more, or mean anything for that matter. Hence, we have all the hot potato title changes. And it's a really frustrating situation. I mean, the title means absolutely nothing right now. It just doesn't seem like they're interested in trying to change that. That's what bothers me. Isn't Gail getting Roman Reigns heat at this point? It's debatable. For the mostly, it seems like she isn't getting booed so much as her face heat has been dying away. Sorry, I'm struggling to talk right now. She was getting some cheers in the match this week. I credit that more to the work the heels were doing, like Maria and Allie and stuff. Sorry, god damn it. But under normal situations, when it's just Gail and another girl in the ring, we don't see her getting cheered that much anymore. So yeah, that's a concern. And it seems to be getting worse. This week was an anomaly. It really was. Because the fan support for Gail has definitely been tapering off. I would not be surprised if Gail gets booked to a gauntlet match in the future and actually wins. Oh, dude, don't give them any ideas. That's something they would absolutely do. Don't give them any ideas. Al Snow's team sucks. They have not been impressive at all. Well, I don't disagree with that, but let's consider the fact that they've been feuding with a team that they can't really be impressive with. So you haven't really had the platform to be impressive and show off their best stuff. I want to see them get a shot to show if they're capable of anything. Right now, I haven't seen a whole lot from the Tribunal. Of course, there's not a lot you can show when you're feuding with Grado and Shera, but still. Give them a chance to see if they can. Let's see if they can actually do anything. Put them in some matches with other people. If they've got something, then let's see it. Did you read Rosemary's interview and her thoughts on Harley Quinn? No, I haven't seen that yet, actually. It's the first time hearing about that. Not a fan of Lashley winning all the titles. It's stupid and makes the X Division and King of the Mountain title even more irrelevant. I see what they're doing. They just want to make Lashley look just like an unstoppable juggernaut. It does. I do think it hurts the other divisions, though. King of the Mountain title. You couldn't really damage the King of the Mountain title anymore. But I don't think this helps the X Division. We'll see. Eventually somebody has to beat him for that thing. So maybe it'll help the person who beats him. But, right now the X Division's just not... Right now, they've taken away the only reason for the X Division to get any screen time. So the whole division is just sitting in the back, waiting for Lashley to drop the title. Because they don't really get storylines that don't involve the title, unfortunately. Also, why does Gail Kim care about who she's facing, like if there was a chance of her losing the match? Yeah. Does it really matter? It's like Maria comes out and adds Sienna to the match, makes it a handicap match. Gail doesn't even react to it. She's like... It's like she's so smug about the whole thing. It's like she already knows what the outcome is. It's like, Gail, at least... Try to sell it you're pissed off, Sell that you've got some kind of mountain to climb, and this is going to be a challenge. We know it won't be, but at least try. It's like Gail comes off unintentionally heelish a lot of the time. Will you check out the new Batman DVD, The Killing Joke? I'll probably watch it at some point. I've heard varying reviews. Apparently, there's like the opening first act is like all like new stuff, and there's a moment between Batgirl and Batman that I've heard about that I am not on board with at all, and I think it's a betrayal. I think it's a betrayal of the Batgirl character, and kind of does her a big disrespect there, and I'm not happy about that. I haven't seen it yet, but if what I've heard is true, I'm not happy about that particular moment. Storm versus Lashley is actually a really fresh match. I don't remember them facing each other before. Yeah, I don't think we've seen that, have we? I'll be interested to see that. I'm just not looking forward to Storm losing. No, it's not a done deal that he will lose, but it'll probably happen. Do you think Lashley is going to have 3 matches at Bound for Glory defending all his titles? I doubt it. I don't think so. Thoughts on Raw? Well, I dozed off during a lot of it, like I have been lately. Just not very interesting. I saw the end, though. It's like, really, they couldn't wait. They couldn't go 2 fucking weeks without violating the brand extension. The whole point of the brand extension is to have stars exclusive to each show. And now, the fucking second week, the fucking second show, they're already breaking it. It's like, why did you want stars exclusive to each show if you're going to have them crisscrossing every week anyway? What, Brock? For fuck's sake. It's just... It's like they're breaking their own rules, and they don't even care. And that shit pisses me off. It's just the storytelling deficiencies on that show just really... I don't know why I'm even complaining. I expect this shit from them by now. What do you think of Margot Robbie doing the in-and-out Harley voice? To me, they should have had her do it or not do it, and the in-and-out thing felt kind of weird. Yeah, I noticed that too. I think she was trying to go for the accent of the Harley from the Batman animated series. Appreciate the effort, but it seemed to... It wasn't consistent. You know, it was there 1 minute and it was gone the next. I think she held it more often than not. It was noticeable though. I would have preferred she keep it all the time. You know, maybe the reshoots kind of affected that or something. Maybe that was asking too much though, because she has an Australian accent, and then she's doing an English accent with the added voice, whatever that accent is that Harley has. I think she did a good job of it when she had it, but like you said, there were moments when it wasn't there. That was another problem with the film I noticed. Did you hear Velvet Sky might be working for ESPN? You know what? I really don't care. As long as she's not on my wrestling show, I don't really give a shit what Velvet Sky does anymore. And Taylor and Dunn did well in that match, especially like the counter to the Twist of Fate. Yeah, that was really cool, wasn't it? I think it was JT Dunn who did that. Yeah, he kind of goes like, "Vuh, vuh." That's his body, like, or something. He just bounces back up. That was really impressive. Fans are getting frustrated not just with the booking of Gale, but now not liking making Allie look like a scrub who can't wrestle. Yeah, I'm not happy about that either, believe me. Has Sienna even talked yet? Yeah, she's talked a little bit, you know, here and there. Hasn't really cut any like lengthy promos yet. Still waiting on that. I think it's stupid that they're holding her back in that regard because she's got great mic skills. This is one of the things I was worried about when they put her with Maria. Because right now Maria's the mouthpiece for everybody, and even though Sienna arguably has better mic skills than Sienna or Allie, than Maria or Allie, they won't let her talk, which is ridiculous. Still better than the bromance taking the tag titles. Well, you're not wrong about that. It's hard to push DJZ when he's in the X Division. He's impressive each time he's on the screen, but he's still not getting regular TV time, which sucks. That does suck. And that's, that's the result of Lashley having the X Division title. That now the X Division has no reason to be on the screen, and they were barely getting any screen time as it was. So now they're just all sitting in the back until one of them gets another title shot. It's really unfortunate in DJZ's case because the guy was getting a lot of momentum lately. Gale just buried the division. No point in watching any knockout matches with Gale in them. Seeing a lot of comments like that. Thank God for Rosemary. Yeah. I'm just doing something with it. I'm going to make a screen cap of that comment for later. I'm going to use that for something. Rosemary rules. Hopefully she doesn't get buried by Gale in her trusty golden shovel. Well, as we saw in that video with Bram, Rosemary has a shovel of her own now. Remember when she grabbed it in the barn and threatened him with it? Yeah, Rosemary has a shovel of her own now, so Gale better watch out for that. I don't know what to think of EC3 getting the title shot. Maybe Bennett and Drew Galloway can get in there for a four-way. I prefer a one-on-one, honestly. I mean, they had a one-on-one last year, and it got changed to a triple threat in kind of ridiculous fashion. So I prefer they just keep this a one-on-one. I expect Drew Galloway will affect that match somehow. They might have him turn heel on EC3, cost him the match. I'm not sure what Bennett's going to do. Maybe they'll do something else with him. Or they could both be added to the match. Who knows? I don't know. I prefer a one-on-one, but they're still kind of circling around the title picture there, so maybe they will get added somehow. Fail Kim or Jane Cena, which name is better? Well, I prefer Jane Cena just because I came up with that name, so I'm biased. Where am I? Lost the comment. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Let's see, not just Reigns, but Angle, Big E, Flair, MVP, Ziggler, Rosemary, Kofi, etc. are all calling him out. Conor McGregor's made some enemies. Did you read Jade's story about what she went through with DV? Yeah. Apparently her boyfriend was abusing her at one point. Good for her getting out of that. Took a lot of guts to tell a story like that. That's really admirable. I think TNA should kind of capitalize on that and do something with Jade right now. I'm not saying put her in a domestic abuse storyline. No, fuck that. But maybe increase her push a little bit. Make the division about somebody other than Gail Kim for a change. That'd be nice. Do you think Ziggler will turn heel on Ambrose? I think Ziggler needs to turn heel. His face run has been stale for years, and Ziggler is due for a heel turn. Is it really going to matter? Whether he's a face, whether he's a heel, I don't think it's really going to change anything. I mean, the guy is stuck in mid-card oblivion, and he's not going to win the world title back. I think we all know that, unless something really, really significant changes. But it's obvious they're not really behind the guy. So he could turn heel if he wants to, but he'll probably stay exactly where he is. Do you think WWE has gotten better since you made that first video back in 2007? Maybe certain aspects of it have gotten better. A lot of them are still the same, though. In some ways, they're even more frustrating now. Do you think they will keep doing this type of Gale booking until Bound for Glory, or will they change it up because of fans not liking it? I think they'll stick with the same thing. Honestly, I think they're completely oblivious when it comes to people turning against Gale. I don't think they even notice it, or if they see it, they're just gonna stick their fingers in their ears and go la 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 la. I'm not listening. No, they're just gonna keep pushing Gale, which I think is stupid. It's going against what the fans are saying, and it's counterproductive. It's hurting the rest of the division. I think it's a terrible idea. And it's not even interesting. I think a way better story to tell, and a way more interesting way to go, would be to have Gale fail in her attempts to win the title back. To have someone beat her, thus ensuring that she can never get another title run. Maybe have Maria be responsible for that, and have her get over on Gale in the worst way and hurt Gale in the worst way that Gale could be hurt. She can never win back a Knockouts title now. And then, instead of having Gale go for the title at Bound for Glory, have her finally get the match with Maria. Have her finally get her revenge on Maria. Meanwhile, Sienna is defending the title against Jade or somebody. So the other girls have something to fight over too. And then, in the following Impact, you can have Gale come out and be like, you know what? I'm good. I can never win the Knockouts title again, but I'm at peace with that. Because I got payback on Maria, and that feels really good. Plus, this division doesn't need me to be the Knockouts champion anymore. You know why? Because we got Gale, because we got Jade here, and she's going to pick up that slack. She's going to take up that ball and run with it now. So, I can't be the champion anymore, but you know what? I'm okay. I'm good. That's not what's important anymore. I'd like to see something like that, but I don't think they're going to go in that direction. Let's see. Do you think TNA will let Jane Cena go over Jade and Rosemary since the roster is so thin? I'm not sure. Rosemary wasn't involved in that angle, so it remains to be seen if she's going to be put in Gale's way. Also, Jade said that she wasn't going to be involved in this going after Gale thing that when Maria put out the hit on her, essentially. So maybe they've kind of removed those two from the storyline, and Gale won't have to beat them. Maybe not. I don't know. I would hope that at least Jade and Rosemary would not have to lie down and let Gale pin them. But I'm not optimistic. How the hell can we think Sienna or Allie are worthy new talents if they book them like shit when they face Gale? I would also like to know the answer to that question. I don't know what TNA are thinking. Gale winning was vomit-inducing. Guys, I am writing a column for TNA Asylum about this, and I was planning to use a bunch of YouTube comments to make my point, and I'm actually taking some screen caps of these that I'm going to use in the column. So thanks for helping me out. You're giving me some great stuff here. I took some from the the videos on the TNA page, but these are really good too. Who would win an MMA match between McGregor and Samoa Joe? Well, Joe's a professional wrestler, and McGregor's a shoot fighter. But Joe, well, they would not be they would hardly be in the same weight class, you know. It's like apples and oranges, really. Joker was the draw for the movie, and he was on screen for less than 10 minutes. What did you really expect? You know, he wasn't in the Suicide Squad. I mean, that was obvious from the marketing. He wasn't on the team. He's just there as part of Harley's story. So he was in there for about as long as I expected him to be. The Flash is smarter in the movie than in TV. Yeah, yeah, he is actually. Spoiler alert: the Flash is in Suicide Squad. It's just a little cameo. He's there for a couple seconds. But they show him capturing Captain Boomerang, and basically he just uses his super speed to take out Captain Boomerang just like that. He doesn't try talking to him. He doesn't do anything stupid. He just uses his speed to take the guy out, no problem. In that one little scene, he proves to be much smarter than Barry Allen from the TV show. Because Barry wouldn't have done shit. He would have tried talking to Captain Boomerang and let him escape, or give him a chance to grab a hostage or something. That's a great point. I hadn't thought of that, actually. Rosemary should have played Harley Quinn. Yeah, Rosemary could have played Harley Quinn, actually. I would have bought that, actually. I would have bought that. She could certainly pull it off. I do think Margot Robbie did a good job, though. AJ called out McGregor. I think McGregor would do well in the featherweight division if the WWE had one. Well, you got a cruiserweight division. Isn't that kind of the same thing? Oh, it's dumb fun argument is what people use to describe the Fast and Furious and Transformers movies. Both make a lot of money but aren't good movies. I never actually said dumb fun. Yeah, there are deeper moments in Suicide Squad. There's a scene in the bar where they all go for a drink. That's in the trailers. That's actually kind of poignant. Yeah, there are deeper moments there. But again, yeah, probably some of those probably got cut down or outright deleted. Yeah, during the re-editing process. There are some nice moments in there, some humanizing moments for the team. So those were good. I don't think the dumb fun argument really applies here. I wonder if the director's cut is going to exploit the abuse in the Harley-Joker relationship. I don't think so. I don't think they're there yet. Now, at this point, Joker and Harley are really very tight. So, did you catch Josh Matthews said Allie was like Judy Hopps from Zootopia? That's actually a good comparison. There are a lot of similarities. Yeah, I saw that. Gail Kim clearly doesn't give a shit about putting over new talent if she's okay with dog shit booking in the knockout division. You know, I'd like to disagree with that, but I at this point, I really can't. I feel like Gail is just concerned about herself and isn't really considering how this is affecting the knockout division as a whole. It's like, well, I got what I wanted, so the rest of that shit doesn't matter. I don't like saying that, but that's the impression that she's giving at this point, you know? I'm sorry, Gail, but at this point, if she got her character called on her shit by even her friend Madison, yet she's still treated as the righteous face and is beating the champion in a handicap match. Woman, your John Cena status is now being lampshaded on TV tropes. Everyone, you're welcome. Is it really? Could you link me to that? Is Gail mentioned on TV tropes? Could you link me to that page? I'd like to read that, actually. Are you still going to watch The Flash? You know, I almost don't want to anymore. I think I'll still watch it, but when the new TV season starts up and we go back to reviewing the shows every week, I think I might get cut down on the Flash reviews and just do like a quick, just to give my quick thoughts on the episode and move on, because I don't really feel like doing in-depth reviews of the Flash anymore because it's just frustrating to me. Because I'd like to enjoy the Flash, but they make it so hard. Barry is just a fucking terrible character at this point. Rosemary thinks Harley is too submissive. Oh, okay. Well, look, in Harley's defense, the character has to start somewhere. As I understand it, in the comics, Harley eventually ditched the Joker and went off on her own because she saw that Joker didn't really care about her that much or at all, and just saw her as like a possession or something. So maybe they'll eventually get to that place with this version, but right now they're not there yet. Harley Quinn's jokes were cringeworthy. No one in the audience laughed at all. It was so awkward. Well, in my theater, people were laughing a lot, actually. Imagine how good the knockout division would be if they booked every knockout like Gale. Well, if they booked every knockout like Gale, nobody would ever lose. That wouldn't make sense, because you'd have every girl being indestructible and no one would get over on anyone. That wouldn't really work. Allie is so annoying with her screams. I love it. I can't hate her. She's so friggin' adorable. Yeah, she's doing a really good job. It was the most entertaining thing about that match. If you were in charge of a Batman versus Clayface movie, who would play Clayface? Well, I mean, Clayface would be a CG creation, probably. If you're asking me who would voice Clayface, well, if it was just a voice actor, they could get Ron Perlman to do it, just like in Batman the Animated Series. If he was played by a real person, well, it would depend. I think there's been several different versions of Clayface. I'm not sure. It would depend on how they wanted to do the character. Gale comes off unintentionally heelish a lot of the time. John Cena. Is that something that John Cena said? Did Cena actually say that? Or is that something that... Or are you saying that is similar to John Cena, or is it something he said? I can't wait to... As for Orton and Lesnar crossing the shows to attack each other, I don't really mind since that match and feud was set up before the brand split, but you're right that it shouldn't become too much of a habit. Was it set up before the brand split? It's not really a feud. There was no history there. WWE just announced the match. They just said, "Oh, at SummerSlam, at this show, it's going to be Lesnar versus Orton for some reason because we need a big match on the show." There was no feud. The feud started after the match was announced. Ugh. I see the point of it, but just breaking the brand split like that just really irritates me. I liked Suicide Squad, but I thought it could have been way better. By the way, what happened to Slipknot halfway through? He just disappeared. Oh, I can see why you're wondering where Slipknot disappeared to. He died. Spoilers, like I said. It's your spoiler alert. Slipknot got killed. Yeah, what a thankless role that was. The guy just shows up, he stands around, he walks a little bit, says like 2 words, and then he gets killed. Because they had to show that the bombs in their heads were real. Poor bastard didn't even get an origin. I wonder how you feel about Batista as an actor. Have you seen any of his other movies other than Guardians of the Galaxy? I saw him in that James Bond movie. What was it? Was it the last one? Was it Spectre? I think he's done a good job. Doesn't seem like a bad actor. Yeah, I think he does fine. TNA doing a great job of making the heel knockouts look sympathetic. That might be sarcasm, but you're actually right about that. Because everyone looks sympathetic when they're all getting destroyed by Gale. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Did you see the Doritos commercial with Madison Rayne? I saw a girl who looked a lot like Madison Rayne that I thought was her. I'm not sure if that's her or not. Is it her? Who knows? Could be her fucking twin, though. Oh, where the hell am I now? Where are Rosemary's parents in the flashbacks? Well, her mom was mentioned, but it was still Courtney Rush playing the mother. So where are the parents? Who knows? Let's see. The booking is holding the knockouts back. If they can talk and wrestle, let them talk and wrestle. Don't limit them. Yeah, I would like to see some changes there. If Rosemary beat Gale, the crowd would be cheering the hell out of that. Well, I certainly would. I'd like for EC3 to get the title and feud with Galloway over it. While Lashley feuds with Bennett and Moose, Zema Ion could team up with Bobby. X Division respecting Bobby for backing up his words. They are definitely letting that EC3 Galloway feud bubble up. I would like to see a title feud between those guys. Alberto Del Rio's leaving again? Is he? Hadn't heard about that. That's whatever. Hadn't really done anything interesting in this latest run, so fine. That's fine. Do you think Ryback going to TNA would be a good idea for both sides? Oh god, I hope not. I don't see what Ryback brings to. I don't see what Ryback brings to the table that could benefit TNA anyway, except maybe some name value. I imagine they'll make an offer to him, but they've got two big, powerful guys with Lashley and Moose. We're both better than Ryback. So, talent-wise, I don't think he's got a lot to offer there. I'm sure they'll try. Someone beating Gail so she can never have another title match again, turning her focusing to deposing Maria, the crooked authority figure, in a Bound for Glory match. Holy shit, Cena Reigns parallel augmented. One is something I'd love to see someone do to John Cena so he can't get that 16th championship. The other's what should have been done with Roman Reigns for the feud with Triple H at WrestleMania. I didn't intend to do that, it just happened. Ariel Helwani says, is there a more insecure bunch than the pro wrestling crowd? Sheesh, every time someone remotely criticizes them, they do this routine. I mean, I appreciate the unity and all, but the irony here is beyond rich. If anyone should get what McGregor was doing, it's them. No. Meanwhile, McGregor's probably cracking up at all these tweets further promoting him. I guess it'll always still be real to them, damn it. Yeah, I mean, all the wrestlers, they're just giving Conor McGregor what he wanted. He wanted more attention. He wanted to piss them off so they'd pay attention to him, and it worked. Did they not understand what he was doing? Best thing they could have done is just ignored it, and it would go away by itself. All they're doing is feeding the beast. Just giving Conor McGregor exactly what he wants, dummies. And shouldn't they be most upset at Lesnar for exposing that supposed wellness policy for what it really is? I'd be more annoyed at that. Ooh. Good one. Maybe it's all a work, hopefully it is. After all, life often mirrors wrestling and vice versa, but those Twitter call-outs. Do you see Crazy Steve getting a bigger push as a single star? Maybe down the road. Right now, I think he's needed in the tag team division now. I was watching one of your videos. First you like Jeff Hardy, then you hate him. Now you're in between. Yeah, Jeff does that to people. There was a time when I was calling for Jeff to be fired. After the incident a couple years ago. I think you all know which one. I was saying, how can you possibly keep this person employed? Because really, I would have fired him for that. I was saying, oh, you can't trust this guy. You can't push him because every time he reaches the top, he sabotages himself. Since then, he's gotten his shit together. I feel like he's earned that trust back. So it's been kind of a love-hate relationship with Jeff Hardy. He's cleaned himself up though, so good for him. I think people thought Joker would be a bigger part of the movie than even the main villain, but he wasn't, so why even have him in the movie? Because it's the Joker and people will go to the movie to see the Joker. Um, I went in thinking that Joker might be the villain, like the Suicide Squad was tasked with bringing in the Joker or something like that. Because the trailers really didn't tell us that much. But yeah, he's in there because people will go to see the Joker. That's why he was there. Gail Kim has had her own article page on TV Tropes for a few years now. Has she? Holy shit. TVTropes.org. Oh, awesome. Hang on. I have to see this. I'm just going to open this page right now so I don't forget. Hang on. Just bear with me 1 second here. tvtropes.org/wrestling/Gail Kim. Holy shit, you're right. I'll be damned. It's this fucking huge page. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm gonna fucking read this after I'm done. As soon as I'm done with this stream. Gail Kim is like the Batman to the knockouts, DC. She's overexposed to bring everyone else down, implemented in every storyline, give the other stars a chance. Well, you know, there is a difference. You know, fans still like Batman. Let's see. Well, if anything, the failed Kim booking did create more fans for Allie. Yeah, people felt sympathy for Allie. Felt bad for how she's treated. So I guess there's that. Should the movie version of The Flash replace the TV version? You mean have Ezra Miller replace Grant Gustin? That wouldn't work. I do think I'm going to enjoy the movie version a lot more, though. Let's see, Gail's ego is unreal. It's like, does she not know that she is hurting the division that she claims to love? Honestly, I don't know at this point. She does give the impression that she's really just out for herself right now. I would really love to have a conversation with her and ask her how she really feels and has she considered that she's hurting the division. But yeah, who knows? She certainly does give the impression that she doesn't care. Do you want to see DC do a Harley and Ivy, Thelma and Louise style team up movie? Okay. They did stuff like that in Batman the Animated Series a couple of times. That'd be cool. I think, yeah, there are other characters, bigger characters, that should probably get a movie before you do a team up of two bad guys. Will Chelsea have her first match? I mean, her first loss to Gail this week. I don't think she's shown up yet. If Chelsea did say on Twitter that she was going to be debuting soon, but if it doesn't happen by the next TV tapings, then it'll probably not be until after Bound for Glory, because there really be no point in introducing her now. And if she did, you hit it on the head. If she did debut now, they'd probably just have her jobbed out to Gail Kim. So I'd almost prefer they wait until after Bound for Glory to debut Chelsea. That's actually Madison Rayne in the commercial. Holy shit. Huh. She probably made a nice chunk of change on that. Talking about Cena's comments on AJ. He goes, oh, you'll just go wrestle somewhere else if it doesn't work out here, but I love WWE. I'm never wrestling anywhere else. Did Cena actually say that? I don't know. Was that on SmackDown? Yeah, I'm not watching SmackDown, so who knows. But did Cena actually say that? Because I remember a time, a couple years ago, where he said to Vince McMahon, if he could get fired, he'd just go on someone else's show and keep on doing this, brother. Cena did say that. So now it appears he's going back on that. Not surprising. John talks like this is some huge accomplishment, like it makes him such a great person, and the WWE bots probably do think so. But to anyone with a sense of respect for pro wrestling as a whole, or even just for blue collar work in and of itself, he comes off like such an ivory tower dickhead. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Rosemary is single-handedly carrying the knockout division, and she doesn't even wrestle that often. Can't talk today. Rosemary is single-handedly carrying the knockout division, and she doesn't even wrestle that often. That shows how great she is and how boring and tired Gail is, even with all the focus on Gail. Yeah. Like, is there a more interesting female character on this show right now than Rosemary? I mean, she's more interesting. At least to me, she's way more interesting than anything Gail's doing. Yeah, fuck. Yeah. Let's. TNA should have a give the knockouts a chance directed towards Gail Kim. Dude, I've been trying to make that a hashtag. I've been tweeting that during Impact lately. Hashtag give the other knockouts a chance. Feel free to use that one as much as you want. Well, will you watch SummerSlam when the full card is announced? Probably. I love how they make you feel bad for Allie, but also make you understand Maria being annoyed with Allie. Yeah. It's kind of a funny balancing act there. Like, she's so eager to please everyone, and she ends up getting on Maria's nerves. But she's so charming when she does it that it's kind of impossible to dislike her. Then they put her against the unintentionally heelish Gail Kim, and she gets destroyed, and she looks sympathetic for him. It takes a lot of charm and charisma to pull off something like that. Gail is the mystique of the division, having way too much screen time over more interesting characters. Well, I would argue that in the X-Men movies, Mystique is one of the more interesting characters. Of course, they've increased her role. Of course, they've made her roles so big that she would almost have to be. Cena said that to AJ. Wow. That was kind of a dickish thing to say. What a prick. I thought Chelsea Green teased that she was going to ally herself with Gail Kim in the interview with Josh Matthews on the YouTube page. She said that. That may be where the character direction is going. Maybe they're doing like a Brittany Madison thing there. But, you know, still Maria booking the stuff, so Maria, as leader of the Knockout division, would, you know, might want to book Chelsea against Gail Kim just to fuck with her. Because that's the kind of thing Maria would do. Cena did say that, and Daniel Bryan took exception to the comment by Cena. Did Bryan say that? Was that a segment on the show where he said, "Hey, Cena, you're being too hard on the guy"? That actually sounds interesting. Well, yeah, Cena was acting like a prick with that comment. You're trying to make a guy look bad by saying, "Oh, you go wrestle somebody else." Yeah, because not everybody is a WWE or nothing type of person. You know? Like Daniel Bryan is one of those people. You know, he loved ROH. You know, I'm sure he'd love to wrestle for ROH again if he could. If he could still wrestle. So Cena kind of inadvertently insulted Bryan there too. What an asshole. What standalone movie would you love to see a sequel to? The Incredibles. And I believe they are making a sequel to The Incredibles. So I'm going to get my wish on that. Anything else? The Incredibles, what else? Yeah, I'll stick with Incredibles. Allie comes off as sweet and funny, yet we are supposed to be rooting for an egomaniac like Gail. Yeah. And that's due to how charismatic and charming Allie is, and how much she has over Gail Kim in that regard. Because Gail, you know, she's a lot of things. Charismatic isn't necessarily one of them. It's really not her wheelhouse. She's always been the wrestler. She's not the character or the entertainer. You know, so she knows where her talents lie, and she's not really trying to be anything else. Not trying to be anything that she's not. This has been a growing problem, though, because unless the writing really, unless the writers keep that in mind, Gail has a tendency to come off unintentionally heelish. And when you've got someone who's as charming as Allie, who's doing heelish things, but she's so funny and cute in the process that she becomes the more entertaining person. And when you got somebody who is entertaining despite technically being the bad guy, and the other person who is technically the babyface but comes off like kind of a selfish asshole, who are you going to root for? I didn't know you had a backup channel. I was wondering where your reviews were. Oh. Yeah, well, they're on the Full Killer 99 channel. They're still there. There was some kind of situation with YouTube where they suspended my account because I violated the community guidelines or some bullshit, which I absolutely did not do. So I got in touch with Google, and they reinstated the account, but the strike is still there, so I can't stream from it. And I don't know what the situation is with that, but I'm waiting for the strike to be taken off my account, which is supposed to happen in a couple of months. I'm trying to figure out how to get that removed, because it's a mistake on YouTube's part. But try telling YouTube that, you know. See, but all the other reviews should still be on the other channel. This is just a backup for in case of emergencies like this. WWE fans used to give that chance hashtag for the Divas, but yet Gale fans don't get the irony by shitting on that and yet being okay with it. Being okay with Gale. Yeah. We could change that, though. We could try to. Like I said, during the show on Thursday, hashtag it, give the other knockouts a chance, tweet it to TNA, tweet it to Dixie Carter, tweet it to Dave Lagana, tweet it tweet it to everybody. Hashtag give the other knockouts a chance. I'll be doing it. I hope you will too. Let's see. And I lost my place again. Where am I? Okay. Brian said it on the network on the SmackDown After Show. Okay. I'm thinking Chelsea will be a heel so she can continue or start to feud with Jade as they had good chemistry in that explosion match. I think that would be a mistake. They need more babyface knockouts. I mean, they got a lot of heels. They got very few babyfaces. I think Chelsea needs to be a face for now. And she got over it. She got over as a face in that match with Jade. So I think it's don't try to go against the grain here. Just do what feels natural. It was on the Talkin' Smack post-show on the network. Brian called out how Cena's talking from a position of being a huge star and having Hollywood offers so he can afford to be WWE or bust. Yeah, exactly. But AJ is a wrestler, and this is what he loves to do and how he pays the bills, so it's ridiculous that Cena gets to knock AJ for not being in his shoes. Thank you, Daniel Bryan. See, Bryan gets it. Of course, Cena is a millionaire many times over right now, so he can afford to not have to work for other companies. Because if WWE dumped him for whatever reason, he could just go make movies or chill out in his mansion or whatever. If somebody else got fired from WWE, they would have to go work for other companies. Because maybe they just love to wrestle and that's what they want to do. If they're not getting any offers from fucking Hollywood, they can't make money that way. And there's nothing wrong with that. Cena criticizing AJ for that makes Cena look like a dick. Gail is not the hero, she's the villain. Somebody read my column from a few months ago. It's exactly what I said. Actually, that was the title of the column. Let's see. Gail probably thinks showing some cleavage can't somehow make up for her lack of personality, lack of charisma, and just being all around unlikable. Is Gail showing that much cleavage? I don't think so. They could debut Chelsea as Maria's new assistant. That way they could slowly turn Allie face. They could. The wheels are probably in motion for that. We see that Maria's getting more annoyed with Allie as the weeks go by. So they're probably going to have Maria turn on Allie, maybe turn Allie face up because of that. And that's a good idea, actually. I could see that happening. Do you think Maria and Sienna will turn on Allie? Yeah, possibly. Rosemary for Knockouts champion. Hell yeah. Hell fucking yeah. She's really the only knockout that's I guess with the exception of Maria and possibly Allie a little bit, Rosemary is really the only other knockout that stands out. That actually looks like a star. And Because the reason for that is that she's not wrestling in the knockout division right now, so she's not in Gail Kim's path of destruction. So Gail hasn't had a chance to bury Rosemary yet. As a result of the brilliant character work that Rosemary's doing, she looks like a fucking star. So yeah, have Rosemary give Rosemary the Knockouts title. God damn it! I think they're missing out on something by not having her in a bigger position with the Suicide Squad movie out, because people make the comparisons to her and Harley Quinn all the time anyway. So fucking use that. Cena and the WWE marks don't understand that it was the other companies that give guys like AJ, Bryan, etc. a chance and put them on the map, or gave guys a second and third chance. Yeah, exactly. Cena doesn't really understand that anymore. Not everybody is John Cena. Not everybody gets like the big paydays and the Hollywood offers and all that shit. Not everybody's making John Cena money. Some people have to, work in other companies to make a living. It doesn't make them bad people. They're just doing what they have to do. Okay, does Gail not know that she's pissing off fans? Does Gail not know that she's pissing off fans by her going over the new talent? It does seem like she's not considering it. You guys are giving me so many good comments here for the Gail stuff. I'm noticing TNA putting more focus on Rosemary with these on-screen location segments. Hopefully this leads to a big push for her finally entering the knockout division. It does show that the writers like her a lot, and that's a good sign. Of course, I hope she wouldn't go into the knockout division seriously until after Bound for Glory, so that way she avoids this whole Gail Kim thing. But it doesn't seem like anybody's going to be going over Gail Kim, or anyone who's going to really be showcased except Gail Kim right now. If Gail Kim wins the Knockouts title, runs to toilet to puke, beating Sienna clean, screams into pillow in under a minute, suicide pills, huh? There's one of my longtime viewers right there. Thoughts on Superior Spider-Man? The comic? I wasn't reading the comic at the time. I haven't really been following the Spider-Man comics that much since One More Day. I flip through the book when I'm in the store or something. But this whole Superior Spider-Man thing felt really gimmicky to me. And Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man's body. Wasn't really looking at that too closely. Boy. Okay, you know what? Get your final questions and comments in. I'm going to put the cutoff point in a minute. Okay, so we can think about wrapping this up. I hope that Allie can actually wrestle a match without trying to act like she's green as hell Raquel. Me too. I don't know why they're having her pretend, that she's a newbie. That's dumb. What's the point of that? Do you think they would have bothered re-signing James Storm if they knew beer money wasn't going to be an option? Sure. James Storm is still a big name in the company. He's still a longtime fan favorite. He's a name. Why wouldn't they try to re-sign him? Even without beer money, he could still have a lot to offer. Hashtag Storm for champ. Let's see. Do you still read comics? Yeah, I've pretty much ditched single issues for trades at this point, so I read the trades. And I'm not that crazy about what Marvel is doing right now, because Marvel's kind of turning into something I don't recognize. Not crazy about a lot of the decisions they're making. Um, I'm not happy about what's going on with the X-Men books. Uh, but I still read comics, yeah. Um, yeah, I've been getting the trades of the Jason Aaron Star Wars title. Ms. Marvel is a lot of fun. So yeah, I still read comics. I'm waiting for the book 2 of Scarlet, because Bendis and Malave are finally getting around to finishing that. Who has more potential, EC3 or Eli Drake? They both have unlimited potential. How's that? Uh, if Gale does go through everybody in the knockout roster and win the knockouts title, who does she face after that? Good question. I've been wondering that myself. It's like, okay, assuming this plays out the way it looks like it's going to, you have Gale defeat everybody, go on to Bound for Glory, win the knockouts title. Okay, then what? What do you do with her after that? She's a champion now, but she's buried the entire knockout roster. So one, who the hell does she feud with? And two, who takes the title from her? She has no credible challengers at that point. Now, assuming TNA have accounted for this, there's got to be somebody who's going to be removed from Gale's path of destruction, so afterwards she has someone to feud with. Might be Jade, might be Rosemary, or maybe they just haven't thought of that. You know? Wouldn't put it past them if they hadn't thought of that. What's your big issue with Sasha Banks? I don't have an issue with Sasha Banks. I just don't get Sasha Banks. Everybody seems to rave about her. I don't get it. For me, the gimmick feels really disingenuous. I don't look at her. I see like the boss gimmick. I don't feel like that's. It feels phony to me. I look at her and I see a person who's acting. I feel like that's not her real persona. That's not the way she really is. That she's just someone putting on an act. It feels unconvincing to me. I know I'm in the minority on that, and that's fine. I just don't get it. Man, I think she comes off kind of borderline heelish a lot of the time. Seems really arrogant and full of herself. And for me, that she's kind of a hard person to root for in that regard. And again, I'm in the minority. Clearly, I've just never completely been on board with Sasha. I prefer Becky Lynch. Always have. Is this the best main event scene in TNA history? All young guys with potential, no WCW veterans. In history? I don't know. Certainly the best in a while. I'm sure there were other times when there were no WCW veterans in there. When you had Gale, not Gale. When you had AJ, Joe, and Daniels feuding over the title, and they were the main event. That was awesome. That was certainly the best. That was really just one time. That's like a one-time thing, though. Actually, twice. I don't know if it's the best in history. Definitely the best in a while, though. Because you're right. They've gotten all the old timers out of there. There's no WCW cast-offs. It's just young dudes who are awesome right now, going for the title, and that's a good thing. Who do you see dethroning Lashley if he wins all the belts? EC3. Most likely. If not him, I don't know who else. Uh... Jobbing out the entire knockout division to a 40-year-old is what's best for business, right? It's short-sighted on TNA's part. They really should be using Gale to help build the new girls into stars. It just doesn't seem like they're interested in doing that. It's like, if they did that, then they would have to admit that Gale's career is finite, and one day she won't be there anymore. I think they just want to stick their heads in the sand and pretend that Gale is going to be there forever. Are you going to watch the Athena? Are you going to watch the Athena debut at NXT Takeover? I might check it out at some point if I find it online. Holy shit. Where the hell am I? Who's your favorite in WWE? I don't know if I have one now. It was Daniel Bryan, but he's not wrestling anymore. I like Becky Lynch a lot. Kevin Owens is cool, even though he's not always booked the best. Who the hell else? I don't know, I'm blanking right now. Boss equals built on self-success. Alright. Whatever. Which members of the beautiful people in the dollhouse do you like or think is decent? How and why? Well, Angelina was good at one point. Of course, that was before she got bored and started phoning it in all the damn time. You know, Madison performs well these days. Yeah, I couldn't stand her for the longest time, but she's gotten better since then. So she's okay. I just don't find her interesting. I mean, she's not bad. She's just uninteresting and stale. From the Dollhouse, Jade is great. Marty is not as good a wrestler, but she's got a good personality and some good mic skills on there. Sasha's got more of a star quality it factor to her, but Becky does feel like a more authentic face. I agree. Agree to disagree about the star quality it factor thing with Sasha. Again, I just don't get it. Apparently, well, tons of people like her, clearly. So maybe this is just a problem I have, but I don't get. I look at her as Sasha. I don't get it. I don't get why she's popular. Doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, but yeah, Becky definitely a much more likable from a character standpoint. Because she doesn't act like really arrogant and full of herself and like she's too coolio for schoolio and all that stuff like Sasha does. Yeah. Is there any other good questions here? Alright, last one here. Have you seen Bill and Doug's tweets about not agreeing with Ambrose being champ? Both Doug and Bill claim Ambrose blows it in big matches and drops the ball all the time. You could make that argument. I think it's a little overblown. I do like Ambrose as champ, though. I like that he's a first-time champ, so it works. It fits with them getting over the new era, even though the new era is complete bullshit. But having a first-time champ helps with that. And Ambrose is very popular. So what are they going to do when they go to SmackDown? What are they going to put the belt on Cena again? It's just same old shit, you know? I did think it's a little bit early to put the belt on AJ, although he is having a lot more success than I ever expected him to there, so that may come eventually. And I think Ambrose is fine for being a champ right now. I like him as a champ more than Ziggler. And Ziggler's just had his credibility destroyed. He wouldn't be a credible champion at all. I think Ambrose works for right now. Bill and Doug disagree. That's fine. Whatever. Of course, doesn't really matter because, again, I'm not watching SmackDown. Okay. I think that'll be it for today. 69. Okay. You know what? Yeah, that'll be it. I gotta go eat something and maybe take a throat lozenge or something. Sorry about my throat today. It does that. I have chronic allergies, so one of the side effects is that my throat gets really scratchy. So I apologize for that, but thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the questions. I may end up using some of these comments in that column that I'm writing for tnasylum.net on Gail Kim, because I'm sort of examining fan reactions to her and showing why people are turning against her and stuff. So I'm going to use some examples. So I may end up using some of these comments. I got some screen caps here. So I'll put a link up to that when it's written. It's mostly done now. I just got to add the comments and stuff. But yeah, watch out for that. Also, I may have to work on Saturday to next week. I don't know yet. Don't always get a lot of notice. But it may end up on Sunday again. But thanks for tuning in. Again, if you watch my Twitter for the updates on what day it'll be. If there is no update, assume it'll be on Saturday, but it might switch it to Sunday. I don't know yet. Again, so thanks for tuning in. Again, I'm repeating myself now, but good stream this week. Good talking to everybody, and I will see you next time. Later.